there's all kind of talk about government cuts, and certainly that issue has the limelight in our country right now.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge that we have is finding some common ground to do it on. So I have a two-part question for you again, and I can repeat it later on as you get through part of it. But first is, do you think deficit spending is immoral, since we obviously are spending a next generation's money? And the second part of that question is, the compromise in the past has been, we'll continue to support all the programs and we'll continue to not pay for them, which is what drives our debt.
Yes.
What areas do you see where we could find common ground to actually bring down and address our debt problem?
Sure.
And we've been drilling you for a little while, so let me give you a chance to get some water so you can have a break.
The first part of that was, again, I'm sorry.
Let me get back to my question. Okay.
Yeah.
First, is the deficit spending, do you see it as a morality problem? Is it immoral?
That's a strong word. It has an element of immorality. Sure it does. Yeah, we don't want to be putting on the shoulder what we're not doing right now on these young men and boys. We don't want to be doing that. And yeah, that's a moral problem. It's not the same as, you know, a hit and run or, an intentional malicious act. But it's, sure, and it's insidious because it's just going on, and ignoring it is perhaps a huge moral issue. And yes, it is. It really is. It is a moral issue.
So the second part of that, I guess, if I can be kind of specific, is we know that there's folks on one side who are really hard against cutting services and would love to see us all raise revenues, and folks on the other side who are, got their feet planted in that we are not going to raise taxes, we are going to cut services. Where do you think we can find some common ground so that we can address our deficit?
It's just going to happen. It's going to happen. If the people in Congress want to be reelected, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. And is there common ground? It's got to be compromise. The sacred programs that people have had in certain areas, and some of the more difficult ones are going to be in the area of entitlements. Clearly, I like the title, Tea Party Patriots. Patriots aren't necessarily people that recognize that, let me just back up a second here. If we don't need a huge Defense Department, we don't need it. It's as simple as that. I think we need an opportunity for people to provide service to their government, to serve the United States, and I don't want to see that damaged. When it comes to the expenditures of the Defense Department, I'm more interested in defending the enlisted and the personnel and the commitments that we've made to those people, certainly already. Looking at the Defense Department as as an arm of diplomacy, which it always has been to some extent, and making every effort to minimize its use in any way other than that. Always should be our objective. The other is the Defense Department has an awful lot of people that work in the areas that have to do with technologies that we could help to deploy and improve upon, and not necessarily weapon systems. The land on which the military bases are located are potentially usable for different things. So there's great potential there to try to improve the benefit to the United States of that very significant. The Defense Department right now uses 93% of the liquid fuels the federal government buys, and now with troops coming back from the Middle East and et cetera, that's going to be cut, but we should be looking to reduce that carbon footprint that it has, and but still providing an opportunity, and not just in the Defense Department and other federal agencies, for young people to serve, to be in public service, other than just being employed in the department, but to actually be in a service such as Defense Department, Peace Corps, you know, some of these other programs have existed for a long time. But there's duplication sometimes. There's things the federal government does that states do already. Where there's duplication of that type of thing, we should be, in my opinion, if states can do things and do them better, they should be doing those programs. And I question the legitimacy of the need for a federal Department of Education, for instance. There were several announcements made by the Obama administration today about consolidating some federal agencies for cost-saving purposes. Great, great. And I hope to hear a really good, fruitful discussion across the aisle and with the other independents. There are a couple independents that are in Senate now. There's 2 out of 100. You know, I'd participate in that to see that we do smart things and not just blow our horn, not just try to get reelected, but try to do those smart things.